Music reaches us all, making us feel good. It's a gender-neutral religious tongue that bridges gaps, eliminates political divides, overcomes racial barriers. It feeds our spirits, bringing people from all walks of life together as one.
I don't know how people find their way onto the dance floor. Everyone has an individual journey. Everyone has a story to tell.
Dance has no color. Dance has no barriers. It didn't matter who you were, what you were. There was always a sense of freedom.
And what they decide to put on stage in front of an audience is their self-expression. This is me. I want to tell this story. I want to dance this dance.
I'm not defeated, and they won't let me cheat it. I'm not defeated, and they won't let me cheat it.
Dance floors can unify people in ways that governments and religions can't, and I stand by that shit 100%.
When everyone is dripping in sweat, there's no class distinctions, there's no economic distinctions. We get in a room and none of it matters at all.
When the clubs opened, you saw the look on people's faces, the smiles, the energy that people gave off. You were all there to dance.
There's no right or wrong on the dance floor. You know, music moves people and allows them to be free.
People being the stars of the dance floor, people wanting to lose themselves, people that are on the dance floor are what make great clubs.
I'm not defeated, but you can see the bruise, bad and I feel. Still there's so much to prove. I'm not defeated.
You know, the only reason why I'm still alive is because I found life on the dance floor. I found friends on the dance floor. I found support. I found love, unconditional, chosen family kind of love. You know, when the people who are supposed to love you don't have the capacity to understand how to do that. I found a lot of those folks on the dance floor.
We are a community of people from all different walks of life, with all different backgrounds, all different body shapes, sizes, genders, ethnicities. We're a complete mismatch, but we share this common ground of wanting to amplify those really positive parts of what people have and what we have.
The performers at Glitterbox, they stamp their personality on the night from the moment we open the doors. They make a huge effort in their dress and their makeup. They look absolutely spectacular, magnificent. You're like, wow, who is that person?
There's more behind everyone than just fabulous dance moves. All of us have had to really fight for our right to be ourselves.
It's just creating a safe space that unifies everybody. There's going to be no judgment. We're safe to be who we are, and at the end of the day, we come together to celebrate love.
I feel like I've always been quite quiet and shy. I guess I've always felt like I didn't really fit in. At school, I never really had any friends. I never felt like I identified with people, and I found it hard to socialize with people. I just remember it being really lonely and not having anyone that I could relate to, or being told that what I was doing was wrong, or trying to be who I thought I was wrong. When I went to sixth form college, I made friends with some of the girls there. I guess around that time, I was figuring out my gender identity. Those friends that I had at sixth form were really important to process that. When I first started going out in East London, people were dressing up and there were loads of club kids and everyone was kind of wild and free. And it was the first time that I'd experienced nightlife like that. I was coming up to having my gender reassignment surgery and I was kind of very private about my past and I didn't really talk to people about it. And so when I started going out to these places and meeting queer people for the first time, really, I started to feel this sense of community. And it was only after a couple of years of making friends with these people that I started to open up about my past and just tell people about my journey as a trans woman, which I kind of kept really secret up until then. For something that had always been viewed in a really negative way by other people, for these new people that I met to see it as a positive thing, I almost felt celebrated. When I'm on the dance floor, I feel this freedom to be myself and exist in the way that I want to be. I think that's why it's really important that we're trying to create these spaces where people do feel free to express themselves on the dance floor.
My grandmom used to tell me, "Oh, child, you've been left in the oven a bit too long." She used to relax my hair because my hair was a bit too kinky for her, press my nose so it will be a little thinner. It's only now that I'm realizing what I went through as a kid. So this is where I grew up, when I was primary school, when everything happened when I was a kid. I was in this house. My family was a lot under the spotlight because my sister is an athlete. She's Olympic winner. She's worldly famous. She's known in the fencing world and in the sports world. She was on TV all the time. So our family was under the spotlight for good reason. Everyone was proud. So people were expecting me to be doing fencing as well. And this is when I discovered fashion. But I was getting so much negativity from my surrounding, from the people around me, that I started harming myself, doing bad stuff. I've been arrested, I was stealing, I was fighting, I was literally going the wrong way. I just remember a lot of things that I've done that I'm still struggling to say out loud. Me trying to end my life as well. And the best thing for me was to just escape Paris. At the time I've left Paris, I was 24 years old. If you ask me, I don't even remember how I moved there. All I know is I packed some clothes and I moved to England. Luke was the first person when I came to London I spoke to. Oh yeah. I messaged him, we started talking, we became friends, and literally just helped me with makeup a lot. I wasn't really doing any drag or anything like this. So I remember I was just so impressed by everything Luke was doing, and I've learned so much with Luke, and literally we became friends since. You could check on the fridge. So that was the first night out with Luke. When we went to Cirque, my first time pretty much trying to do drag. When you start doing drag, you question everything. Often men have this idea how men should act and how women should act, but when you put yourself in the shoes of a woman, and when you look in the mirror and see someone that is not who you used to be, everything just goes so fast in your head. Because you don't recognize yourself in the mirror, you allow yourself to feel things that you don't think you were allowed to feel because you're either a man or a woman, because society tells you that you should act this way or act that way. When you're in drag, you don't fit in any of those boxes. You have the freedom to do and think and feel whatever you want.
In the beginning of my sort of drag career, I released so many anxieties, and there was times where I cried on stage and I broke down and I was silly and I was funny and I was honest and raw, and it was like taking away all those things that society had placed upon me and chipping away at the past to just become the best version of me.
Come inside. I'll take you through to my drag den. Here you go. Welcome to my little world.
I'm a very visual person, and so I want to create more things that bring people joy and bring me joy. I like to be surrounded by colourful, happy things.
This is kind of like drag. It's things I collected. It's things that make me happy. It's things I use day to day, but also in nightlife.
I live in basically like a Barbie dreamland of a bedroom, and that's not what most people's bedrooms look like, but I've made a conscious choice to surround myself with colourful things that make me happy and make me feel fabulous.
Storage is very difficult when you have a lot of costumes that don't really make any sense. This is all like Glitterbox stuff, an outfit I wore on Lorraine Kelly. I'd say it's like 80% made by me. This is like 7 years of drag. This is 7 years of like holding on to memories.
So when I was a young child, I was constantly encouraged to express myself, but we moved around quite a lot when I was a kid. We moved around the country. That meant that quite often I was put into a different community where I had to adapt. And you slowly realise that being too visible or too loud can sometimes be a hindrance. And so I kind of learned in my early adolescence to keep a lot of my feelings inside because people's reaction to them wasn't always positive.
I came out when I was 15 and I felt liberated in some ways, but you're basically like fighting one battle to come out, and then when you come out, you've got to fight this other battle to accept yourself. I started to reach out to the gay community that existed in Cumbria, which is very small, and a lot of the lesbians there all looked a very specific way, and I didn't really connect with that at all. And so I felt like I didn't belong in that box. And it was like saying, okay, you've come out and you're gay, but then the gay community also doesn't really want you here. And yeah, it just felt like I was drowning. And it got to the point where I tried to take my own life several times, and my mum just said, what will make you happy? And I just said, I need to get out of here. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. All I knew was that if I moved to London, there would be nightlife there, and there would be this scene that you could find and you could belong to, because I hadn't felt like I belonged to any community. I didn't feel like I was from anywhere. I didn't feel like I fitted in anywhere in particular, and so I just knew that there were alternatives in London.
I'm tired of coming to a house party and people just standing around like it's a fucking fashion show. This is not rap music. Children, we do not beef. House music is about love, freedom, and expression. To be what and who we are.
I understand now why people are out and proud, because they've been victimised and being told that they're misfits of society and it wasn't acceptable. It's made much easier by meeting people and getting on with people and talking to people and understanding what people have to go through, and you shouldn't be stigmatised because you are different.
Get up!
There are costs and duties associated with liberation. It begins in our minds, a distinct release from ties that bind by thinking positive thoughts, ignoring the haters, turning the other cheek, but don't be no fool. Come on, we've got to open our hearts to give love so that we can receive it. Freedom ain't free.
The biggest success that I have, for me, is the fact that I fucking survived as a trans person of color. So imagine being marginalized within the marginalized within the marginalized. As I transitioned while I was building a DJ career, I transitioned in the city of New York when there wasn't a word for trans people. And you had all these people from the outer boroughs that if you were visibly presenting as trans, it was life or death. I never found my place because as a person of trans experience, I had to create my own tribe and I had to create my own world. And for me, it wasn't so much about what color you wore or who you slept with. It was, do we vibe musically? Do we vibe artistically?
Queerness is a gift. It's a way to see the world through a lens that enriches the world, that is so needed in the world, but cannot be repressed and cannot be extinguished.
It's about the music, it's about coming together. I am in a space where I feel completely free to be myself without a bond. It was just everything that's part of me, everything that I've been telling you about, like fashion, dance, music, gay, black. I was like, that's me. And we get to dance together. Sometimes it's a competition, but when the competition's over, we all go and dance together.
Queer people are coming into the mainstream in a big way, and we're influencing culture, and we're influencing media and change, and we're influencing music and television and film, and the mainstream society's idea of gender is changing, and like my generation are encouraging that. And so I hope that the next generation won't even be asking these questions. They'll just accept you for who you are.
Hiya, girls! Looking nice and subtle, very powerful.
As I've got older, I've learned to express myself with my body more, and because of that, I feel like I can dance freely. I think what I want people to see is somebody being authentically themselves and somebody being free. When you see other people celebrating and being encouraged by your freedom, that is the feeling when you're like, this is really, really special.
Clubs are about great music, but they're also about exhibitionism and voyeurism. I've just always been obsessed with strong theatrical personas, people with exaggerated imagery, anyone who's performing. So that chimes with the club thing because, as I said, clubs really are an arena for people to perform. I quite like the idea of bringing the glitter into it because it ties in obviously with the name and it's an extra texture. Growing up in the early 70s, realising I was gay, I couldn't tell anyone, and so it forced you to become an actor because you had to pretend that you were like everyone else. But the club world in London has enabled me to actually live my life more truthfully in a way for myself. This is the newest one of Lucy, which I was really pleased with. Everyone seems to like that one. Some of the performers, they have a certain charisma, and it's transmitting that through the artwork to give people an idea of what the club is about.
There have been loads of people who've nudged me into becoming a dancer and performer. Glenn's been one of the key figures in encouraging me to perform.
Go away.
Hello!
I'd always wanted Lucy to be involved, and I'm just going to talk frankly here. I think Lucy might have been a bit wild for Glitterbox at the beginning.
Oh my God, I think I was wild for Glitterbox up until last year,
yeah,
I think.
But I also think that, like, Lucy is the most punk-ass performer I've ever met, and I've always said that. Lucy has got pop star energy where it doesn't matter, you can be in a 5,000 capacity space or a room of 10 and Fizz will get it pumping. Like, and that is a gift. That's like something that you do. It's like watching a conductor. You know what I mean? She's a disco conductor. Put that on a business card. Put that on a business card.
We don't want to forget in any way the music that has led people to the current scene. You know, the DJs that created the scene, the pioneers, the music that they used to play. That's really, really important.
It's amazing when I think back at the history of dance music that I was fortunate enough to have grown up in New York City and was able to see what I consider some of the greatest DJs of all time in the residency that they were most famous for. And that was just, you know, pure luck, if anything. We're standing on Mercer and Prince, and in this building is where the loft was at 99 Prince. I grew up in the South Bronx, so there were a lot of drugs around me, people getting killed, lots of my friends becoming junkies. So I just knew that I had to do something to get out of the world that I was in. You know, it got to a point where my mom was telling me, you need to have a job. And then I had to explain to her that I wanted to be a DJ in a nightclub, and she was like, someone's gonna pay you to play records all night. I'm like, yeah, it's a job. I'm just gonna say we're in the corner of Mercer and Houston, and behind me is the entrance to the gallery where Nicky Ciano reigned for many years. And as a teenager, I would come here and bother him and ask him for the names of songs. I'd come with pen and paper in hand because I knew I was always gonna hear something I never heard before.
So basically, that's...
This is the entrance. This is the line before we open. Here was the entrance, right off the corner. I mean, these two clubs were the basis for everything, and still to today. That's what happened with the gallery and the loft. People understood it. I remember the first week we opened at this place, it was 120 people, and the second week was 700 people. I mean, that's how quick the word spread. A lot of people stopped by. I mean, David Bowie, Mick Jagger stopped by, Patti LaBelle.
It was a mixed crowd, straight and gay, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, young and old.
A different race, your different sexual preference, and it didn't matter, because you were all there to groove on the music, to dance. You were all there to dance.
What I felt performing in these clubs at that young age, I really felt a sense of individualism. Be who you are and feel okay with it. At 14, 15, I was 16 when I sang We Are Family, I was always working in clubs. So I think that's what I felt, a sense of expression that had no barriers. I was understanding how it brought people together. The music did. It was a sense of, the first word that comes to mind, freedom of expression and freedom of enjoying yourself and not caring, you know, who's looking. You're having a good time. And socially, too. It broke down barriers.
You have to remember what was happening socially. Civil rights, the Vietnam War, people got out and protested every day and ended the war. And then they got rid of the president. All that stuff happened, and people were feeling very powerful. People felt like they were bonded together. And when the clubs opened, it was a place where people could gather and share their power. They would share their power, and they would unify it and make it stronger. And when you spent a night at the gallery, you felt like you went to a protest, you know, like you went to church. You were uplifted.
Coming up, there was always a separatism of music. There was R&B, there was pop, black, white. Dance totally created a bridge with that. Being African-American women, and especially in that time, there was a sense of responsibility with what you sing. Owning up to the lyrics that you put your heart into.
All the songs represented a kind of let's get together and take them over, or spread love, or change the world.
Songs definitely had messages in the lyrics, and I think they were definitely relative to whoever felt them and what they were going through.
You went to dance, and you danced to whatever David played, whatever I played, and you got into it because you trusted me. You trusted David. We weren't gonna put on shit. We played from midnight till 9 in the morning. And that was a journey.
I'm really sad that gallery is ending, but everything has a beginning and an end, and I hope that there will be another beginning.
Unfortunately, it's closing. But we'll leave here and go to the garage. There's always one other place to go to.
We're standing between Varick and Hudson, just where the Paradise Garage was. And I haven't been here, wow, in over a decade that I haven't passed by here. Well, I still can't believe it. It's just not there anymore. I'd come here and the line would be down the block and inside it would be packed. It was dark, tight space and all gay, all black, and it was an amazing energy in that room. It's strange, you know, I spent a lot of nights in there. There was a room full of love and magic and people dancing and forgetting all their troubles, and coming together as one. So, I don't know, it makes me feel sad and happy to know what was there, but sad to see what's there now.
We're in New York and we're on the way to House of Yes. This is my first time in New York. I'm really excited to be here. I can't wait to perform tonight. I've had the call sheet and it looks like there's huge production and loads of teams of different dancers and performers. So I need to figure out where I fit into all of that and what they want from me. Oh my God, it's sick.
We're not the first people to be dressing up and dancing to disco music. I feel like we are part of a legacy and a history, and we are carrying forth a certain sort of ethos and belief into the present and obviously into the future. House of Yes is a space dedicated to entertainment and self-expression, so we do that through having theater shows and dance parties, but it really is a magnet that attracts people who are like-minded, believe in positivity, believe in self-expression, and diversity, inclusivity, and good dance music.
No one told me about this. It's amazing, I can't wait. I'm like terrified about going in the spinning cage of death and climbing up that wall in like my 6-inch platform heels is gonna be interesting. I'm so excited. It's like a dream come true.
Club culture was more than just entertainment, and the music reflected that. These were safe spaces for people of color, for gender non-conforming people, for trans people, for black people, for Latin people. And so it's not surprising to me that, you know, queer people of color, which were marginalized people, weren't allowed in these sort of artistic, creative spaces, created their own. And so then when you go to these places where you find your tribe, it's celebrated and it's freeing and it's enriching. And it gives purpose and meaning to your life.
Can I get a fuck? Yeah. Fuck yeah. We also love consent. It's 100% mandatory and just like me, super sexy. So yes means yes and no means.
House of Yes in its peak moment feels like your costume closet and your art studio like made this like crazy art baby and then threw it up in the air and everything's just covered in glitter and confetti and just this big sea of people dressed in whatever the hell they want to dress in, just flying and dancing. House of Yes can stand for this place where it's okay to be yourself and it's okay to do your thing and that we will accept you. And it's a positive message.
There's no right or wrong on the dance floor. You know, music moves people and allows them to be free. And that, for me, is so rewarding.
Our motivation right now and our intention is to help, is to be in service to a community. You know, whether it's sharing actual information that can save people's lives, whether it's about mental health or sexual health, there's a lot of that. There's even social health and opening people's perspectives into how they can be them best selves.
I came to New York City on December 27th, 1990. I have a real affinity for the dance floor. It was a healing space for us. It was like a family reunion for us every week for those of us who were living through the AIDS crisis. It was a place to fellowship, to heal, to recharge, so that we could go back out and face the world that was not so pleasant at the time. It was a plague, and people were dropping dead on the streets, and nobody cared. We were dying. Gay men first were dying of a plague, and nobody cared. The government didn't talk about it for 8 years. We marched on streets. We fought for medication. We fought to live. And the dance floor was the place that we went to be with each other, to heal, to recharge, to find a space where we could have the energy to go back out into the world and fight some more. There was a whole group of religious people from their pulpits spouting hateful rhetoric that AIDS was God's punishment. You deserve it, you faggot. That's what we lived through.
Told me you was coming. I said, this is crazy. This is crazy.
I know.
I mean, just the years. This is
I
like,
know. I'm trying to tell him.
Yeah. Like for real.
Yeah.
Like we went through it together. We went through hell together. And came out on the other side.
I want all of my work to reflect what I've really gone through, who I really am. That's what this song means to me.
When it comes to my heart, I think I deserve to be choosing.
As a gay man coming out in 1985 in the middle of a plague, love was not an option. Love was transient. Love was what other people had, because if you allowed yourself to be vulnerable enough to be in love, that person could be dead in a matter of weeks. So we cut ourselves off unconsciously. We blocked ourselves from that.
That's why I'm ready to finally fall in love. It feels safe now. I'm ready to finally do it. I don't even know how to do it. Lately, there's a little something I'm needing. Something found deep in a kiss. That's the kind of drug I've been missing.
Yeah, where's the love? Is that the love or the ambient?
True love can be more than just a daydream. Daydream. You want that? Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm finally ready to experience what real love is.
That's fine. You can take as much time as you need, and also, you know, as many takes as you feel you need. It's all good.
I don't need eyes to see it. I know my heart believes it. I wanna know if you're the one who needs my love. Tell me, could it be the one for me? I'm ready, finally ready to fall in love. Baby, I'm ready, ready to fall. If you answer when I call, I'm giving all to you.
Awesome.
I have been a part of the generation that kicked the door down, and now I'm receiving the benefits from that. I'm just so grateful that I lived long enough to see this transformative day. That's not lost on me.
Ain't got no problem, that's for real. Ain't got no drama, she know what I do. Making that money for the fancy clothes, but she got her own, you know the drill.
Fabulous means glamorous and camp and fun and sparkly and happy and full of energy and the best possible feeling you can feel about yourself. That's what fabulous means.
I mean, to me, fabulous is believing in oneself enough, loving oneself enough to know that you are enough to then be whatever you want.
Na na na, na na na, na na na.
I don't know why I'm like this. I think what makes me fabulous is my outlook on life. I think if you have a fabulous outlook and you want fabulousness from people, you'll find it. Yeah, I think it's an energy more than anything.
They're like superstars, they're like the superheroes of the night, you know, they elevate the energy, they keep everything going, and some people even go to the Glitterbox shows just to watch the performances because these dancers are just like next level. So we figured we wanted to create a campaign that reflects that spectacle and the weight of the power these guys have to bring positivity to a room.
We want people to stand out and look individual and be themselves without any fear or prejudice. And if they can do it on the dance floor, if they can do it in life, it's an amazing thing.
Glitterbox have definitely helped me find my own aesthetic and shape the person that I am now. I'm comfortable enough, or at least strong enough, to go back to Paris, face my old demon, but also mostly reconnect with my sister who is taking a big place and in my life and who is really important to me. So I think it's the right time for me to do it. The more I get, at the minute I'm really scared because I feel like because we didn't live things in the best way last time we spoke to each other. But that was like 5 years ago now, so I'm hoping things are better now. But Paris was really tough for me toward the end, and I felt like I was being a danger for myself mostly, and I didn't want to be here anymore. And it's just hard to face all those things again, but I think I need to see through all of that and find some positive things. Juste là, si tu veux. Tu veux que je laisse ton sac?
Ouais, je peux le garder.
Ouais.
J'ai eu plusieurs phases. J'ai eu l'incompréhension, la colère, l'inquiétude, la peur, et puis la résignation. J'étais résignée, je me suis dit que voilà, il fallait que j'apprenne à faire ma vie sans lui.
Et ça, en fait, ça va être une campagne qui va sortir cet été.
Ça, c'est pour... Et ça, c'est pour
Glitterbox.
D'accord.
Avec les sourcils dessinés et tout. Je me souviens en plus quand tu me menaçais.
En fait, ce qu'il fait aujourd'hui, ça me choque pas. Je sais qu'il y a eu une période difficile où j'ai pas compris. Mais s'il a dansé petit devant le miroir et si maintenant il danse devant plein de personnes sur des podiums, ça veut dire que d'un bout à l'autre, la même personne est toujours là. Je veux juste retrouver mon frère.
I was happy to see that she was open to rebound and to start fresh, have like a new start, and I feel much lighter now. There is still a lot to process. My head is just about to explode, but I feel really happy about the way it went.
Breaking down the walls of people's preconceptions and prejudice and unifying people on the dance floor and everybody being equal on the dance floor, they're huge statements for us.
Welcome guys, right now you're tuned in to the Glitterbox radio show. We are super excited to announce a huge show lined up for you guys at Printworks in London.
think London, for a lot of the dancers, is a really important place, you know, physically as well.
When we do Glitterbox in London, it always feels like the family's all back together.
Hello, Mum. This is my mom. I think, you know, when you get to a level where you've got nothing to hide, you can bring your mum to a rave, and being at Printworks is a way of connecting all those little dots of who you are and bringing them all together. This is a physical representation of everybody coming together in this huge space where we've all got air to breathe and we've got space to express ourselves. It's very rare that any of us will get to that place in life where we are celebrated on such a large scale. And so Printworks, you know, is like our gold at the end of the rainbow.
For a very long time, I've been bullied. I've been told that I was too skinny, I was too this, I was too black, or I was too feminine. And if you would have told me when I was a teenager that I would be in a thong and heels dancing in front of thousands of people, I would have probably shit my pants and be like, no.
I still don't really understand what it is that lets me get up on stage in front of 5,000 people, and then still I'll be so shy that I won't dare go and speak to someone.
There's one thing feeling free in yourself, but there is another thing when people are celebrating your freedom.
Seems I can't deny. Some days just don't feel right. You know I'm here, I think I feel much better at night.
Whatever we're doing, it's beyond being on a stage and it's beyond the music. It's just about embracing whatever you are and whatever you've been given.
It is that feeling of people telling you that you're perfect as you are. You don't have to change. What you're doing right now is good enough.
Do not look for validation on the outside. Be your own validation. Speak life into yourself. Find your tribe. Find the tribe, find your family, find your chosen family who understands how to love you unconditionally. The end.
Here we side. One hand is tied, and one's been worked to share. I can't see the light, so have to find it. Every time